YouTube Nation, what a go on? And me again, man, Mr. B. And I want to take a look on an issue that been plaguing all of it. This discussion that been running the rounds that dancehall music is deleterious. May I use a $5 word or a $50 word? Deleterious to the existence of Jamaica. That dancehall is the cause of all of the problems, the criminal problems what we have in the country. What is important is that nobody can really come up with any meaningful scientific. I mean, I talk about borrowed science from outside of Jamaica, but scientific evidence generated out of Jamaica to support that kind of argument. Before we take on the subject, though, I just want to ask you that if you enjoy the videos that we've been putting out, we'll ask you to just subscribe to the channel. No? Subscription is an important thing for us because it helps us to build a foundation, a traffic foundation, and like the videos and share with your friends. And we would love to get your feedback to in the comment section. But to the topic. Dancehall in Jamaica had its existence in the 1950s when the dancehall was effectively a place where poor people who don't have no money, who couldn't afford to buy a suit and a hat and a pretty shoes, and every weekend you go down to the big club, them Beaumont and Glass Bucket Club, for to enjoy yourself, right? Because them go listen to live music, band music. I just give you a quick synopsis. The dancehall generated out of that as a space, places like Chocamo, Lawn, and them places where, a choraled area where people can go tune in and listen to a sound system and play some blues music and some shuffle music until over time Jamaicans start to make their own music and it increased the popularity. But the bottom line, it was dancehall was a place where poor people could have go and entertain themselves. Because you have to remember, them time, no TV and them thing, not even radio. One or two man and a dog in Jamaica would have a radio. So you have to go out for go listen to some tune, And so the thing come through that, and over the years, as the sound system business grow, and in terms of its popularity and the spread across the island, you have more and more places where people go listen to music as a dance hall, the big sound them clash, Tom the Great, Sebastian, Duke Reed, Coxsone, all the big sound them would a clash. Prince Buster coming out of business in the late 50s, early 60s with Theme Sound System, and Voice of the People, and basically shake up the music. So, but as that grew, the interest of Jamaicans in the music itself grew. The dancehall is a massive part of what has helped to develop Jamaican music, because that was kind of like you would have said the standard determinant, if you will, where if a tune no good, the dancehall determines that the tune no good and the artist have to wheel and come again, right? The studios who were making music at the time used those dancehall settings for basically test the tune them that they make. And as the years rolled through, it took on an increasing importance. In fact, one of the reasons we could have argued why the music is having the kind of quality issues now is because we have effectively pushed the dancehall in the recesses. We ban public playing of music in a dancehall setting to a large extent. And in the old days, particularly in the late 70s, the 80s, when the DJ them start to catch on to the sound system, where you go a dance and 8, 9, 10 DJ line up, forget a talk off of the mic, which is basically the place where them test them lyrics. A lot of that has disappeared over the last 15, 20 years. And so, as what replaced that is this proliferation of studios and the quality control component gone. But, that is pushing the conversation a little bit far forward. Bottom line is, the dancehall is an important aspect of the Jamaican culture. It would have been what, 1970s, the late 1970s, Sugar Minott, effectively, the late great Lincoln Granulated Sugar Minott would have been the responsible for the opening salvo of Jamaican dancehall. And I think he had two tunes that he put out that essentially spoke to all of that. A tune named Get Them in a Dancehall Style, and the other one which was In a Dancehall with the I Play Reggae. Two big songs that literally recalibrated the music in that direction. And then, of course, as that started to take root, because Sugar Minott started to go back in a Coxson's catalog and resample a whole heap of the late 1960s, 1970s rhythm and start to rework them. And out of that, the dancehall basically start to take root. Wayne Smith with the in the early 1980s, when he did, which was what, 84, 85, Wayne Smith came out with the Sling Ting rhythm. And then, of course, he had Yellow Man, who, in my opinion, is the unmistakable king of Jamaica dancehall. But essentially, what the dancehalls provided, apart from, inexpensive entertainment and the quality control, it provided a sort of a release valve within the inner city communities, where the youth them now is doing nothing different than what was happening with the music as it developed in Jamaica from the late 50s, the early 60s and the 70s, where the artists drew on the experiences within their communities to create the lyrics. Remember, the difference is that during that time you had a far less amount of studios, right? And far less amount of producers. So let's say you have 5 or 6 producers, you have 500 artists, only the best of those artists is now going to see the light of day. So, you can't just go behind a microphone and record any kind of foolishness and it come out on a record. The other thing too is that as we got deeper into the 80s and into the 90s, when the real dancehall now take off, by the 80s, 90s, you now start to have, in addition to people like a Yellow Man and the Wayne Smith, you have some other producers now who start to, put on them foot and stamp them authority on the thing. People like John Laws, people like the great King Jammies, and out of that, people like Shabba, Admiral Bailey, Frankie Paul, and Johnny Osborne, right? That is what we call the golden years of Jamaican dancehall. The ironic thing is that as that grew, not only did it grow in terms of the music, but it created a sort of a business opportunity for Jamaicans. And, in a country where we have such a massive informal economy, the dancehall found its space. I will tell you that while all of this development is taking place, and again because of the informal activities and the illegal activities, the dancehall became the space where a lot of unregulated approaches, it allowed a lot of money from outside to come into the business, for the simple reason big business in Jamaica has never really taken a significant or a serious interest in attaching itself to the music. And so this music has been allowed to develop on its own. Untrained, the most of the practitioners, they just basically wake up a youth figure, say, boy, I may have the ability to coin some lyrics, if I can attach myself to a studio, attach myself, well, let me step back, not even the studio, but attach myself to a sound system, right? Ultimately, I can use that sound system experience and parse it into recording, right? But a lot of that recording was geared to a specific market set, right? What has happened in the late 2000s, as we got into the 2000s rather, you had a more liberalized approach to media, which with a liberalized approach to media, an unregulated financial sector to a large extent, which is allowing a lot of money will come from drug running and coke and weed selling and in the current period scamming. That money finds itself into the music, right? Remember, it's a business, and if big business not there to support it, right? What you have done is left a playing field that the scammer, the fresh money, the new money people, they now can control that industry. And then you have an unregulated media environment. The Broadcasting Commission start to sell more license. So instead of you have just JBC and RJR, about 40,000 radio station where, you just have too much thing and everybody will compete in the same market space for the same consumer. And instead of you having presenters, you have is, especially since the sound system, the government basically mash up the sound system thing because them ban you from play sound out on the road and all of that. Them DJ they find themselves in a radio studio where they work as selector, not program presenters. And of course, that opened the door to the payola system, right? What has happened is, because Jamaica is a space where about 3 different kind of Jamaica you have. You have a Jamaica where the man way up at the top class and them call the big shots. And then you have the people in the middle who want to go up at top and them follow that kind of line, right? And then you have the poor people are at the bottom, which is where a lot of these entertainers are coming from. And so nobody want to mix with what down at the bottom. So everything where poor people are doing, we're gonna condemn it as impure and that kind of thing. And so what we have done is that kind of separatist approach to how the Jamaican society work. You see it in the music bigger than anything else, right? From long time, we have never treated the music with any kind of respect. We figure that the people who make the music, there are some, in fact, reggae come from the term stregge, loose people, right? And dancehall is a derivative of reggae. And so if the reggae music was loose music, I come from loose people, what else you ever say about dancehall? Dancehall are just as loose and so on. So without the kind of regulation, without the kind of support mechanism, what has happened is that the poor people have created a template for themselves and created an industry. And not only is the dancehall now just the space, it has become a music, it has become a culture, right? And the growth and spread of that culture has exploded beyond the shores of Jamaica and elsewhere. And so in places like Japan and in places like Brazil, right? South America, Argentina, in spaces in Europe, dancehall culture is massive. In fact, we see it now with Afrobeats. Afrobeat is dancehall music that, you spice it up with the drum and so on. And while all of this is going on and people elsewhere is making a piss pot load of money out of something that we created, we have decided to turn our nose up on it and decide that, we have a crime problem, we have a political problem, or political leaders can't do the job where them compete with each other for. And so them hang it, the blame for criminality in Jamaica upon dancehall music. without providing any kind of meaningful arguments to support those claims, right? That dancehall music is responsible for or influencing the violence that is in Jamaica. My argument is we need to come up with scientific arguments. And I don't want to present scientific arguments that is coming from America and Europe and so on. Let's do those studies in Jamaica. Let's make those studies, commission them, and present the argument to support that claim. Because in the meantime, while we make this argument and rich people in Jamaica condemn the dancehall music and literally condemn the people who making that music, who are finding a space for themselves, and push them out. What we are doing is, while we're doing that, is we're allowing people from elsewhere to capitalize on the financial benefits that can come from an industry that we created ourselves. Poor people. What do you think about that? I want you to give me your thoughts. Put your thoughts in the comment section. And the next video, we're going to look on some of the other aspects of the dancehall thing and how, the growth we have basically failed ourselves in terms of capitalizing upon the growth. But in the interim, give me your feedback in the comment section. Like the video, share with your friend. Until next time, I'm me, Mr. B. Respect.